So in this video, we are going to learn how to write the capital letters in Faux Calligraphy from A to Z. And I'll explain the reason for writing these numbers as well. So these numbers are written for reference. Some letters will take 2 lines, some letters go up to 3 lines while we write them. Okay, so it is just for reference to see if we are writing it correctly using 2 lines and using 3 lines. Also, number 0 is always a reference that we are supposed to leave that line and again start from number 1. So it helps us also to maintain uniformity in our work when we do. Okay, there are some letters which are written in 2 ways, so I will be showing you that together as we proceed, and I'm writing them in alphabetical order. Okay, so let's start with letter A, entrance stroke, downward stroke. Because it is downward stroke and we have applied pressure, this part will be shaded to make it thicker. Compound curve, this part will be shaded, and that's how we write A. There is one more way in which we write A. I will be showing you both, and in future, whichever you find it easy or you want to use or you like it better, you can use that as your formation for A. This gap should be visible. Okay, it is very, very important for this gap to be visible, and your formations will be slant. The other way of writing letter A is upward stroke, downward stroke. Because we have applied pressure, this part will be thicker. Alright, and from here, A. Letter B starts as the same formation that we started A. Alright, so entrance stroke, downward stroke, this part will be thicker, okay. And this is the small Z that we had written yesterday while practicing our small letters. Okay, so letter Z. And before we move on to the next letter, we close letter B like this. There's one more formation for B using the universal line of beauty, also known as the capital stem. It's not a slant line, okay? So don't draw a slant line for this. It's the universal stroke of beauty, also known as the capital stem. And the formation starts with one loop here, and then the second loop down. This part will be shaded because we had applied pressure while we began, and both our loops will be shaded as we had applied pressure. A, B, C. C starts with a loop formation, okay? So starting from up, a loop, and come down. This is the part where the pressure was applied. Remember to keep your formations slant, okay? Don't make them straight. It is supposed to be slant formation. A, B, C. D starts the same way, the way we had started A and B. Okay, so the entrance stroke, downward stroke, and here we are going to make a loop. The gap should be visible up, the loop to be thickened, and close the D with the ending stroke. A, B, C, D. Now, all these letters we have used writing two lines. So, we will leave line number 3 and line number 0 for reference. Okay. And again, we start the next series using 1, 2, 3. E starts with a similar formation of the loop up. Okay. So, when we start E, again, we will start with number 1. That's how we write E. Alright, and now we will write F. So to write F, it will start from the middle. Okay, the universal stroke of beauty which we had done for B, we will do it in the center, in the middle. A slant line upward and leave it down. F. G will take 3 lines. When we write the letter G, 3 lines, the same loop that we did for C and E starts the same way. The letter G is very closer to how we write C. Okay, so the loop, descending stroke, and close the G, and the pressure is applied here. That's how we write letter G. This gap should be visible here. Alright, see this. A very tiny V formation will be seen here. So this gap is very, very important. Okay, so E and F we have used 2 lines. For G we have moved up to 3 lines. Next comes letter H. For H to begin with, the universal stroke of beauty, loop it and lift it. H basically is written without lifting your hand at all. Okay, so I will do it one more time to show you how it is written. We don't lift our hand in between while writing letter H. Okay, so I will show you one more time how to do it. It starts with making a small loop, universal stroke of beauty, lift it up. Okay, shape this if you want, loop it and H. That's how we write letter H. I. To write letter I, 2 lines. Alright, so we start with the universal stroke of beauty, And when we are closing the eye, we always start the loop from down to up. Never go up to down, it always goes down to up. J is very similar to I, and it's written using 3 lines. Okay, it's the same step. We start with the universal stroke of beauty using the 3 lines, and we will make a loop here. Remember, whichever loop we make, it is always an oval, and it should not be a round or a circular shape. Okay, it's always an oval shape. So that's how we write J, and again from down to up, and the ending stroke. I, J, next one is K. So to write K, it will start with a similar formation that we had started for letter H. Okay. Universal stroke of beauty, also known as the capital stem. Okay. Here again it will be a small universal stroke of beauty using 1 line. Okay. And this should not be broader. It's a half compound curve. It's a half compound curve and slant formation. Okay, it goes slant. L, when we write a downward stroke here, and L, and this part will be shaded because we had applied pressure here. Okay, L. To write M, we start with upward stroke gently, downward stroke, we applied pressure, again an upward stroke, and while coming down we have applied pressure, downward stroke, ending stroke, and a dot. That's how we write letter M. When we write letter M, we have to ensure the space is equal. Okay, and it should be slant. Okay, it should not be straight. That's how we write letter M. Letter N starts with the same formation with an upward stroke, a downward stroke. We had used this for the second formation of A as well. Okay, and lift it up and close it. This goes slightly above the line. All right, don't make it too big, just slightly above the line. The next letter is letter O. We are going to leave the line where the line number 0 is written. Okay, and we again start from 1. So at the formation of 2 o'clock hand, that's how we write letter O. We are not going to connect it or join it. Okay, this is how the capital O looks. P starts with the universal stroke of beauty or the capital stem. This is a perfect universal stroke of beauty. Okay. Round formation, we had applied pressure here and at the loop here. Alright. And the ending curve. P, Q's 2 o'clock formation, make an oval, This part will be thicker as we have applied pressure. We were moving downward when we were doing this. Okay. And the line down will be like a small wave. That's how we write Q. Okay. R starts with the universal stroke of beauty. So see, this is how the universal stroke of beauty should look. Okay. It should look beautiful just the way it has its name. A small loop. And this is half compound curve. Don't make it broader, make it narrower, okay, for the slant formation. This is how we will write our letter R. S. When we write S, we will start with upward stroke, loop it, and downward stroke. So when we were coming down, we have applied pressure here, and as we proceeded further, we applied pressure down as well. Okay, RS T. T is very similar to the way we have written F. Only difference is we don't draw this line in the letter T. Otherwise, rest of it remains the same. Okay, so when we are writing, and write it down. When we are writing a letter T, okay, we start with the same formation that we have used for letter F. So the line up and the universal stroke of beauty. Okay, RST. U is a compound curve. So be careful when you bring this downwards stroke. This cap should be visible. Okay, and make it slant when you bring it down. And this part we have applied pressure, so you will have to make it thicker. That's how we write letter U. V, to begin with, a small loop, downward stroke. This downward stroke, when we do, ensure it is as slant as you can to give it a slant effect. Upward stroke and close it. Okay, W also is the same way, just that we are going to repeat the step 2 times for W. Okay, so the loop to start to join our downward stroke. Okay, so downward stroke. Okay, now see, we are gently going up using the upward stroke, again a downward stroke. So okay, slant formation, lift it up gently, upward stroke and close it. So that is how we write W. Again, when we write W, it is important that this side and this side should look equal. Alright. To write X, It's the slant universal stroke of beauty. Okay, slant universal stroke of beauty. We have applied pressure and just close it. That's it. X is very simple. X. For letter Y and Z, we are going to use 3 lines. For letter Y and Z, we are going to use 3 lines. Y starts with a similar formation of U. Okay, so I start with the compound curve. Now while coming down, be very careful the gap and then the descending stroke. Okay, this is the part where we applied pressure. The descending stroke and ending stroke. So this is how we write letter Y. It is just like letter U, but we end it using the descending stroke. We drag it further down and we end it using the descending stroke. Z, when we write, it goes up to 3 lines. It is the same as the small z, just that to show the difference between small and capital, we use different number of lines. For small we are using 2, for capital we are using 3. The formation and everything is the same. So that's how we write our capital Z and the ending stroke. So this is how our capital letters look at a glance. All right, do your work slowly, do it neatly. Happy practicing.